Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. You can visit us at latenighthealth.com, where we put our interviews up and you can hear them. We have a very special guest and very timely guest, Dr. Rani Banik. She's an ophthalmologist. She's actually a neuro-ophthalmologist. And we're going to talk today about the blue light that's coming from all the computers. I mean, my computer time is up probably 4 to 5 times what it normally is. Dr. Banik, welcome to Late Night Health. Should I be limiting my blue screen time, my computer time?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And so screen time has it's been on the rise even prior to the current pandemic, but now that so many of us are working from home, we're doing homeschooling, we're connecting with friends and family via screens, and also probably doing more entertainment via screens, our numbers will probably skyrocket. Even prior to this, there were some adults who would spend about 11 hours a day in front of the screen, and some children who would spend about 6 hours a day in front of the screen. So I'm not sure, what the numbers will look like after or during the pandemic, but absolutely it is a concern. Now, in terms of protecting your eyes from blue light, so I'll just first explain what it can cause, so some of the health concerns there are, and then what we can do to protect against those potential health effects. So, first of all, blue light is it's high energy, short wavelength light. It's part of the rainbow of colors that we can see. But in natural circumstances, when blue light comes from the sun, it actually helps to regulate our sleep-wake cycle. So it's important for our circadian rhythm. But when we get blue light from artificial sources like screens or even lights, for example, CFL lights or LED lights, it can interfere with our sleep, but it can also cause symptoms of something called digital eye strain. And I think perhaps that's what you're most concerned about is the digital eye strain.
Right. Now, I know that when I'm producing or hosting video, natural light to me always looks better than bringing in artificial light, whether it's the new LEDs or other kinds of light sources. But I always like the look of natural light better. Isn't natural light healthier then?
It is. Overall, it is much healthier. It has the full spectrum of light, and some of those wavelengths are therapeutic. They're necessary for our body functions. Of course, natural light also has UV light that we need to be, protected against. But absolutely, the full spectrum of light that we get from natural light is always best. But when we're on our screens, there is definitely this predominance of blue light, which is on the short end of the spectrum. And in terms of vision, so first of all, I do want to make it clear that there's been no association with blue light exposure and vision loss or permanent vision loss or blindness, but there are certainly short-term eye issues that can arise. For example, trouble focusing, light sensitivity, dry eyes, sometimes even headaches or even neck or shoulder pain associated with blue light. And there's also been some early research done in children which shows that excessive blue light exposure may lead to behavioral issues and cognitive issues, for example, hyperactivity and lack of attention. So, not just vision-related side effects of blue light, but also perhaps other issues as well.
What about things like glaucoma and cataracts? Can overexposure?
That's a great, wonderful question. So, so far as we know, there is no increased risk of glaucoma, cataract, or macular degeneration from blue light alone. But the research is still very early. We don't truly know what the long-term effects are. Let's say 10, 20, 30 years down the road of all of this blue light exposure. So we'll see what develops. But my thought is because we are on screen so much, we just need to be proactive and protect our vision in any way we can. And there are 2 wonderful ways to do that. Many people think, maybe I should get blue blocking glasses, but there are 2 actually more powerful ways to protect your eyes against blue light. So first of all, our eyes actually have natural blue blockers within them in the retina. And these blue blockers are pigments that are deposited in the retina, and they have fancy scientific names. They're called lutein, zeaxanthin, and mesozeaxanthin. And these pigments are mainly found from foods. For example, lutein and zeaxanthin are found in a lot of green leafy vegetables like spinach and kale and collard greens, and some yellow and orange vegetables as well. corn, yellow peppers, orange peppers, even the spiced paprika are very, very rich in these pigments called carotenoids. But the third pigment I mentioned, which is mesozeaxanthin, is not readily found in foods, and that one is actually probably the most potent of them all in terms of being a natural blue blocker. So, yes, we can get these pigments, these great nutrients for our eyes through food, but unfortunately, many of us simply just don't get enough of these great vegetables and fruits in our diet, specifically children. You know, it's very hard to get our kids to eat vegetables as it is, but to get enough of these nutrients, it can be quite challenging. For example, for lutein, the recommended amount is anywhere from 6 to 20 milligrams a day, and most of us probably only get about only 1 or 2 milligrams. And for zeaxanthin, the recommended amount is 1 to 2 milligrams a day, and most of us get less than 1 milligram a day. So
natural, with, I'm trying to think, vegetables and things like that, do you recommend non-GMO, or is that not in your purview?
So I would, follow the environmental working group's guidelines in terms of which fruits and vegetables should be had organic and which not. And so, specific to GMO, I try to stay away from GMO. But in terms of the organic versus regular conventional question, I would follow the EWG's guidelines in terms of the fruits and vegetables that should be organic.
Got it. And one last thing before we talk about some supplements. Do you have children, and how do you get them to eat vegetables that, Brussels sprouts, for example, has just been named the most hated vegetable in America?
I'm not surprised. And yes, it is challenging. I have a daughter. She's 12, and I do try to include various different colors in her diet. So with each of her meals, I make sure she gets a different colored fruit or vegetable with each meal. So that's one way. But because it is challenging, both children and adults, to get enough of these nutrients, that's why I do think supplementation is really necessary, especially in this time and age when we have such high levels of screen exposure and blue light exposure. And so there are many eye health supplements on the market that have these nutrients, but to get all three nutrients, you need to check the labels and make sure that your supplement has all three nutrients. And a great ingredient that I found just in my own research for the book that I'm writing that has all three of these pigments in the correct ratio that are naturally present in the eye is something called Glutamax 2020. And it's an ingredient that you can get in many different brands of supplements. So just look for the label, look for Glutamax 2020. It has all three, the lutein, zeaxanthin, and mesozeaxanthin, and has them in the right ratio. And they also, these supplements also come in gummy forms, which are great for kids. So that's actually...
Oh, they're great for boys, too, and me. I love gummies, anything gummy.
I do, too. So it's a great way. It's almost like, taking candy. It tastes good, but you're also getting the benefit of the eye health nutrients. So it's, you can get them in many supplements that say blue light blocking or even eye health supplements. So just look for Glutamax 2020.
Got it. And when I would love to have you back, you're a specialist in macular degeneration, and that's something that's happening more and more. You have a new book, The Macular Degeneration Prevention Protocol, and I'd love to have you back on to talk about that in the future. Okay? I
would love to be back, yes. So nutrition and lifestyle are so important for macular degeneration, so I would love to come back and share some of that information with you.
All right, we'll do that very soon, I promise. If you want information on Dr. Banik, what is your website? Do you have a website for us?
I do, yes. So it's my full name, which is RaniBanikMD.com. I'm also very active on social media, so I have a Facebook group, and I'm active on Instagram as well at Dr.Rani Banik. So please feel free to reach out, ask me questions. I'm happy to connect and provide some healthy tips.
We appreciate that a lot. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. We will continue. Don't go away.